If you're thinking that the only path to retirement is working harder, saving more, and investing in the stock market till you hit 65, I invite you to the 10x Your Financial Freedom through real estate. I'm going to be going over my proven framework that I used to get to financial freedom at 41 in a few short years while working full time and raising young kids. And I know that you can do it even in the current market with interest rates the way they are, and even through a recession, because hundreds of our students, many of whom are busy physicians just like you, have used the same time tested strategies to acquire over $200 million of real estate. And on day 2 of the event, you get to meet some of them and hear their stories, how they got to 6 figures in passive income while saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes in this market. So if you're tired, burnt out, and ready to take back control of your time and income, if you're struggling with getting your first long-term, short-term rental, or investing in syndications and you don't want to learn from costly mistakes, or you feel like you don't have the time or money to get started, or if you're ready to go from a handful of rentals to 10xing your cash flow, we will be building your personalized recession-resilient real estate portfolio so you can accelerate financial freedom while paying less in taxes. So get ready to go from working harder to working smarter. Register for the event at generationalwealthmd.com/event in lowercase, and I'll see you soon. Hey guys, the third part of this podcast series, and I'm super excited today to talk about the 3 steps that any of you can use to reduce your taxes by the end of the year. And if you're a busy physician with kids, you don't want a tax strategy to become another job, you want a proven framework that saves you 6 figures in less than a few hours a week, preferably with just one property, then join me on this episode, and we're going to talk about the 3 steps that you can take to reduce your tax bracket by the end of the year, even if you are a total beginner, even if you're working full-time without hours to spare, and how you can actually maybe even pay your kids tax-free and write it off and help set them up for success, which is something that really excites me. And all of this so that you can supercharge your wealth building, become tax efficient, and generate streams of income outside of medicine right away that gives you options so you can make more time for what matters most. Let's get started. Welcome to Generational Wealth MD's podcast on financial freedom through investing in real estate. My name is Param. I'm a mom, radiologist, real estate investor, and mentor to others looking to start or scale their real estate portfolios. The goal of this podcast is to provide you with inspiration, strategies, and insight so that you can stop trading your time for money and live life on your terms. If you love the episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Okay, now in the last 2 parts of this 3-part series, we talked about multiple strategies, right? And then some of these strategies, like the real estate professional status, that is for people who are already real estate investors, right? And, for those of you who already own real estate, hey, consider the real estate professional status if it makes sense for you. If you are someone who has properties that are paid for in cash, that aren't leveraged, then go take a look at your Schedule E, look at your passive income, see how much you paid in taxes on your passive income last year, strategize around that, either with bonus depreciation or with using syndication passive losses, right? Those are strategies for you guys. I hope you're leaning into that at this point. For those of you who own your own practice, we talked in episode 2 about how you can bonus depreciate, write off a big part of your medical office building against your income from your practice. And that's a strategy that you can tap into. And that's amazing, right? And I shared stories about how members in our community, how our students are doing this. And those are super powerful strategies. But I do recognize that for some of those strategies, you need to be a real estate investor. For some of them, you need to make real estate a big part of what you do, and you need to own your own practice. And so this episode is for many of you, most of you, who, probably work full-time in medicine and want to continue to work full-time in medicine, have no real estate experience, but you still want to start employing some of these strategies. And so I'm going to start off by talking about a few strategies that you can use, right? Even if you are new to all of this and have no real estate experience, right? How you can use this before the end of the year, right? That was my objective with this. And then we'll talk about the 3 steps that you can take to really take massive action before the end of the year. Okay. And so let's start. So as far as strategies, now I talked about the short-term rental strategy. This one's super powerful, even if you have no real estate experience. And you want to, even though you work full time, you want to reduce your W-2 income from taxes. And this is super, super powerful. Can you do this? If you're listening to this and you're thinking, can I do this before the end of the year? Absolutely, yes. We've had so many students who go through the Creating Generational Freedom program who know nothing about real estate, and few months into the program, they are owning and operating short-term rentals and getting these huge tax breaks. So yes, this can be done before the end of the year. I see this happen multiple times. Hundreds of our students do this every year. So yes, you can do it. This is where, this is why I say join the event that we're hosting, generationalwealthmd.com/event in lowercase. You will learn how to do this the right way so that you aren't making costly mistakes. You're buying profitable properties and you are generating massive income from the property, getting these tax losses, doing it in a way where you aren't proofing yourself and you aren't spinning your wheels doing it. You're spending less than a few hours a week on your property, right? That's the goal. So you can do this with short-term rentals. You can do this if you don't know anything about real estate, if you work full-time, and you can do this before the end of the year. Now, strategy number 2, syndication investing. This, like I mentioned, is where you can be completely passive in the real estate holding. There are general partners or operators who manage the property. You do your due diligence, you invest in the property, and you can get mailbox money, right? And you can do this before the end of the year. And I'm going to share some resources with you. Go to gwcapital.com. We have a free guide there. That's gwcapital.com/guide in lowercase, where I teach you due diligence. I teach you what you need to know before you invest in your first deal, so that you go in and make informed decisions and you understand the returns and the risk profile of those deals. And if you sign up over there on our priority investor list, you will get notified about any future deals. Now, in this economy, transaction volumes are low, so we don't have a lot of deals, but when we have the next one, you will be notified if you're on there, and that is something you can do before the end of the year and take action, right? So short-term rentals, yes. Syndications, yes. Long-term rentals, absolutely. Why not, right? Join the 3-day event. If you don't know anything about investing in real estate, well, we'll talk about what you need to know about market selection, how you can run your numbers, free calculators, so that you know going in that this property is profitable, and how you can set up a team and set yourself up for success. What you need to know about every simple things like asset protection, accounting, cover all of that, right? So can you get a long-term rental before the end of the year? Absolutely. Can that help you reduce your taxes? Absolutely. Can it help you supercharge your wealth strategy? Come and listen to what I have to say during the event. It'll blow your mind. There is a reason real estate should be part of your portfolio. The ultra high net worth individuals and super wealthy have anywhere from 30 to 50% of their portfolio in alternative investments like real estate that are not correlated to the stock market, not just because they lower risk in their portfolio, also because they significantly increase their returns, right? So you should. And so I said it. That's the third strategy: short-term rentals, syndications, long-term rentals. Now, the last one I'm adding, because if you notice a theme, it's that if you are a business owner or if you own real estate, that's when you're able to tap into the tax efficiencies, right? And so if you're a physician, if you can have an S corp, right? And so it's like running your own business, you can become a sole proprietor or an S corp, then you get to take deductions on your income that you make in medicine before you pay taxes on it. So think about that. As a W-2 income earner, your income, your taxes are deducted, and then you get it, and then all your expenses are after that. But if you have a business, right, sole proprietorship, S corp, then you have your income, you take all your deductions, you then pay taxes on it. So this is super powerful. So if you can do this, that is an option for you, consider it. This is how you can itemize your deductions. You can take licensing fees, home office expenses, your business vehicle. If you, again, there are criteria over there. If you're using this to go from one facility to another, you can write stuff off. You can get anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 that you're writing off before before your income taxes are even calculated, right? So that's super powerful. Um, Also, as a W-2 owner, you may be, with the new changes to the tax code, you may be able to itemize deductions. That may make sense, where you're able to now tap into some of the the tax strategies that are typically only accessible to business owners and real estate investors. Now, that I am not sure of, just talk to your CPA, make sure it applies to your personal situation. But when you are a business owner or a real estate investor, now there are a few, I want to talk about this because there are a few tax strategies that most people don't even think about, right? And so, hey, okay, I'm investing in real estate. I have a significant portfolio, but I hear a lot of our students and our members say, but I haven't really tapped into these specific strategies that you're talking about, Param. And one of those things is using your business vehicle as a deduction, right? So if you have a vehicle, and then this strategy, you can supercharge this many ways, right? That weighs over 6,000 pounds, and you're using it in year one, right? In the first year, using it primarily for your business or real estate, right? 100% for your business or real estate, then you can write off the entire cost of that vehicle in year one as an expense, right? That's section 179, expensing. And in following years, as long as you use it for more than 50% business use, then then that's a legal tax strategy. If you're interested in learning how to invest in long-term and short-term rentals the right way, so you can accelerate to financial independence with the support of mentorship, community, and vetted investor agents in strong markets across the country, then get on the waitlist for the next cohort of creating generational freedom at generationalwealthmd.com/waitlist in lowercase. You don't have to learn from decades of costly mistakes by yourself. The program is only open for enrollment in the spring and fall each year. In the last 6 months alone, our members have acquired over $60 million of real estate, and more importantly, they're living life and practicing medicine on their terms. You don't have to do it alone. Now, that can be super powerful. So think about that, talk to your CPA, see if that can work for you. But sometimes, one way to do this is also if you acquire the property close to the end of the year and you're using it 100% for business use, then you may be able to take, expense off 100% of that vehicle. That can be a huge loss for you in year one. So talk to your CPA, see if that's something that works out. Another thing is travel. Now, if it's pre-planned travel and you structure it a certain way, then you may be able to use to expense out a portion of that as a business expense or as a real estate investor. Now, all of this is in my blog post. If you go to generationalwealthmd.com, there is a blog post. If you go to resources and blog, there's a blog post where I talk about maximizing deductions for small businesses and real estate investors. Take a look at that. Home office can be an expense that you can write off. Income shifting is another one I really want to touch upon before we wrap this section up. This is where you can employ your kids in your business or in real estate, and they work for you and you pay them. So now you're reducing your tax bracket, which can, your marginal tax bracket is probably super high. You're paying them. They, have standard deductions. So it goes into their, zero income tax bracket. And then if you fund their Roth IRA, now that can grow tax deferred and they can use it for education, for healthcare expenses, for a first home, right? And so many things you can do with it. And that's a powerful way to really reduce your taxes, but also set your kids up for success, which is a big part of what wealth building and generational wealth is, right? So a lot of strategies that are exclusive to business owners and real estate investors. And so if you can shift into the business owner category, even as a physician or with a business or with real estate, then you can start tapping into these tax strategies and supercharging your wealth building, right? So those are four things, strategies that any of you can use before the end of the year, right? Short-term rentals, investing in syndications, buying your long-term rental. It could be your first long-term rental, and really shifting from the employee bucket into the business owner and real estate investor category, where you can start tapping into tax efficiencies, right? Okay, so those are strategies, and you can say, Param, you said 3 steps. Those are 3 steps, 4 strategies. Let's go to the 3 steps. If you know me, you know that as I start penning my thoughts, I kind of get, excited, and I want to deliver more, but I think this is super important, right? And so what are the 3 steps you can take to really get to these things, to get to the stage where you're incorporating one of these strategies into your wealth building and thereby tapping into the tax efficiencies that come with it, right? So step number 1, go to gwcapital.com, gwcapital.com/guide, download our free guide, learn about investing in syndications. And if you want to start learning about how to invest with us, if you want to use this as an educational opportunity, get on our priority investor list. gwcapital.com, you can get on our priority investor list. You can download the guide. And this is how you can start generating tax-free cash flow. And for every $100,000 you invest in a deal, on average, you get about 70,000 in passive losses. Now, you may be able to strategize around using this against your active income in special circumstances. But like I said, many of you may be able to use these losses against your passive income, other sources of passive income, right? You may want to invest in a business with your brother-in-law and stay passive so you get passive income from it. And instead of paying marginal taxes on that, you're using your passive losses from your syndications against that to supercharge your wealth building, right? Okay, so this is what the super wealthy use. This is a legal tax strategy that I want you to know about so you can start planning around it, right? You have a friend who has a restaurant business and he's asking for an investor to be a passive business partner. This is why you want to do it. This is how you can really supercharge your returns, right? Okay, so that is step 1. Go to gwcapital.com, download the guide, learn about syndications, and start investing. Step 2 is the event, the 3-day event. If you want to learn about investing in profitable short-term rentals, long-term rentals, join our free virtual event where I will be giving you our proven framework that I have used, that hundreds of our students use, so that you don't make costly mistakes. You don't create another job for yourself, but you're doing this the right way, okay? That is generationalwealthmd.com/event in lowercase. No reason for you to not show up and not join. That's step 2. Now, step 3, this is where I want you to start thinking about becoming a business owner and a real estate investor. Think about starting your, long-term rental, becoming an S corp or a sole proprietor, so you will get into that business owner category, so you can start maximizing your tax deductions. But if that is not something you want to consider, then consider having ownership in businesses where you can generate passive income, right? Where you generate passive income, so then you can use your syndication losses maybe against that passive income to really start tapping into the tax strategies that the wealthy use, right? And so if you're curious about other stories, physician stories, if you're curious about strategy, join us for the 3-day event. But I'm hoping that with this 3-part podcast series, I've opened your eyes to wealth strategies that the wealthy have been using forever, that really come to the forefront again with 100% bonus depreciation being back, where you can now really start supercharging your wealth building by being super tax efficient. Okay. And so I laid it out this for those of you who have multiple short-term rentals, who have multifamily apartments, who have large portfolios, but this can also work for those of you who are just getting started, who are listening to this going, I'm in my 40s and I feel like I am not where I'm supposed to be. These strategies are for you. This is how, even if you work full-time, even if you've never invested in real estate before, even if you don't have tons of time, you can still start tapping into these wealth building strategies and start slashing your taxes to keep more of what you make and start building a life that gives you the freedom that you deserve.